So now let's get into Instagram. Probably the hottest of all social networks in the last 3 years, has completely exploded. An enormously big platform at this point. They just announced last week, I think it's 150 million active users now, which is half of America, to put it into context for you. So we're talking about big numbers at scale, natively mobile. It started as a mobile app, and so it's moved on to desktop, right? It's here, but it's really a mobile play. A lot of the same principles about the image and all that, but there's a lot of different things going on with Instagram. Number one, Instagram doesn't have virality yet. So I'm putting a big yet there because I'm really not sure where Facebook's going with this, because I'd have to think that eventually that virality has a lot of value. What I mean by that is, on Facebook, if you put out a great post and a lot of people share and comment, people that follow that brand or don't start seeing it in their feed. On Instagram, you follow somebody and you see everything and only from those people. Kind of the way Twitter works, and we'll get into that a little bit later. The other thing is, there's really two core actions on Instagram, right? You can leave a comment or you can double tap. You can share in a different way, but the double tap gives you that heart that Instagram has, and it shows that you like it, right? You got love for it. Or you leave a comment. That doesn't do anything else really but stay within the confines. It doesn't add to the virality. If you get thousands of hearts, the only thing it can do is populate to the popular page or explore, but that's limited to just 12, I think, or 15 photos, so it's quite limited. You could really be crushing it and never show up there, and so it's limiting the virality. Another thing a lot of people don't like about it is you can't link out in the post. You can link out from your profile, but if I put a photo to something that I want to sell, it's harder to throw right hooks, if at all, in Instagram, other than if you use the mentality of a flyer or a poster. It's different. It acts actually traditional instead of digital because of its lack of clicking out. When you put a photo and you're going through it on Instagram, you can't double click it and get sent to that website, which is what makes Pinterest and Facebook and other things very interesting to marketers and business people and organizations, and actually limits the upside of Instagram. Now, I've given you all the cons. The pro is, for all those limitations, it becomes a more authentic place. People like following brands because they can't push them to those things, can't do those things. So it's a yin and yang, chicken and egg kind of scenario, where the reason people like Instagram so much is for that reason, that you can't maybe make it as spammy as some of the other platforms. And so you really need to go in with the philosophy of treating Instagram, in my opinion, very similar to high-end or very strategic thinking around what you would do in print. So for the people that have been in magazine advertising for a long time, this might come very natural. On the flip side, there are native things you can do. For example, when you know that you double click on a heart, that heart image shows up. So we've tested, and I've tested organizationally, like putting pictures that has an empty slot there of the heart, that if you double tip it, it makes the action, which induces people to double tip it, which in some psychological way, if you're giving it another extra second, you're deepening the brand message and that brand into your heart, or business message, or celebrity, or once again, organization. So Instagram's quite hot, very important. At a youth marketing level, if you're trying to market to 15 to 22 year olds, whether you're a fashion brand, an amusement park, a video game company, you have to be on Instagram. You have to figure out how to storytell. You have to be great at the visuals. You have to realize how to make it authentic. Not everything has to be polished. Some can be, depends on the voice your brand trying to do, but it is a platform we cannot deny. It is a platform that you cannot just live without anymore. And really, I think as this video and this course and this class matures, people watching this, let's say a year or two from today of this filming, Instagram's going to only be bigger, stronger, more important, and we're going to continue to challenge ourselves on trying to storytell. At the time of this taping, a couple weeks ago when they announced their 150 million users, they also started innuendoing advertising. So now we're talking about the idea of, will brands be able to build up bigger audiences? Because up to this point, without being able to buy ads, it's been very difficult to build the size of your audience on Instagram without the serendipity of getting into popular or explore and then being found. And so with Facebook, who's the owner of Instagram, showing ads, I do believe over the next 24 months, there will be some shareable, more explore / viral opportunities within the app. Maybe not, but the paid thing, the ad thing, definitely caught my attention. Right now, all of a sudden, in your Instagram feed, if there's a promoted gram, that might be a way to actually be able to be discovered, and I do believe that's a variable we'll be seeing, and I'm sure a lot of people are like, I get it, but this is business. So when I think about Instagram, the first thing that pops to mind is hashtag culture. I told you that it's tough to be discovered. One of the great ways to be discovered is understanding what hashtags are. We'll talk more about hashtags in Twitter as well. If you're watching this, for the most part, I think you know what a hashtag is. If you don't know what that means, open up another browser, Google hashtag, and understand it. We don't need to describe it. It's a function. It's the number sign and a word. It's how people really explore on Instagram and on Twitter for that matter. So a photo comes in your stream, you may see it says hashtag Valentine's Day, you may hit that hashtag, and now you're seeing a bunch of photos that use the hashtag Valentine's Day. So if you know something's trending or popular, like the Emmys were the other night, I could have put a photo and put the Emmys around my brand, hashtag the Emmys, and then somebody else who's following a celebrity, they're at the Emmys, they click the hashtag, now they're seeing everything. If my timing's right, they may see my brand in there. Oh, I didn't know XYZ brand or XYZ business was on that platform. Cool, I'll follow them on Instagram. So hashtag culture to me stands out in a very big way as the true function, as a tactic. Make sure when you put a photo that you're accompanying a lot of hashtags with that, or find your right balance. To me, I like over hashtagging. Some people find that spammy and annoying. You've got to find your right tone. To me though, at least 2, 3, 4 hashtags need to accompany your photo, and figuring out how to hashtag takes a little time. You've got to understand how to be specific, theoretical, aspirational, there's trendy, there's a lot of hashtags. If I took a picture right now of this, I might say hashtag Skillshare, I might say hashtag class, I may put hashtag professor, I may hashtag learning. You could go with camera, camera on camera, camera on camera on camera. Like, you can go a lot of places and be creative, but be specific. It's kind of like 2 lanes, utilitarian and creative. The other thing to really think about is it's still at this point, if you're watching in late 2013, early 2014, it's still pretty young. And so I would come with a little flavor. And when I say flavor, I mean slang for just a little more youthfulness, right? I mean, Facebook, if you followed Facebook for the last 7 years, you've watched the transformation of it being like beer pong photos to baby photos. You've literally seen it mature. And so Instagram still has a youthful energy to it. And I would really, really recommend that. And I'd also take into consideration that it's a pretty artsy, it started off as a place where filters made your photos better. And I would still give a lot of thought, are you making the photos Instagrammy? Meaning like giving that extra effort. You can get away with many more lame photos on Facebook that you can't necessarily on Instagram. And so finding that artistic flair or that vibe or that nuance that makes it Instagrammy will take you downloading the app if you're not on it, following brands and celebrities and popular people, and starting to get that taste. I love how people talk about all these social networks or what works and doesn't, and they don't actually even use the products. Makes me laugh.